What's going on, YouTube? Fair Play here. Back to come and give you a little bit more verbiage. You know, it's been about a week since I've been on here. I said I was going to try to do better this year about making videos and making them more regular. It's not like I have a lack of material or anything. I just have to get my motivation up to being on this video. I don't know what it is, but anyway, I'm going to try to do better. Y'all pray for me, all right? But anyway, I wanted to come on here and briefly talk about R. Kelly. That's another one of my goals, is to shorten up the videos, because last time it was like every video was at least 30 minutes long, and I was doing reviews for shows, and I don't want to tarry that long on a video because it don't take all day to say nothing. But and maybe that's why. Maybe if I do shorter videos, I'll do more videos more often. But anyway, before I get into R. Kelly, y'all, you know the latest information on Wendy Williams, because my first video for this year was Wendy Williams and what was going on with her husband and her health and everything on the show, and the show that she has gone into a hiatus with. You know, lately I've been hearing that her husband has sold the main mansion that him and his side piece were living in. But not only has he moved to sell that, but there is also a townhouse that he has been owning since 2004 that he has moved to sell. It seems like he's liquidating certain assets, and usually when people start doing things like that, it's because of divorces and whatnot. So this word on the street, the rumors about her getting a divorce, may in fact be true after all. Not only that, but we know that he's probably trying to protect the baby mama who is allegedly pregnant, and she's many months pregnant. So y'all just keep your ear to the street for that, and just look out and see what's going to happen with that. I just wanted to tell you what I've been hearing lately. I also heard that Wendy Williams' husband beats her. This is terrible news. It's sad if she's allowing something like that to go on. I heard that he literally had a room in their house, soundproof, so that he could take her in there to keep their son, little Kevin is what they call him, from hearing him when he was abusing her. I don't know how true it is, but a lot of people saying it though. So anyway, that's just a few tidbits about Wendy Williams. I hope she gets it together. She needs to pull herself together so she can deal with this situation with a clear mind. All right. But anyway, moving right along. Before I get off into talking about R. Kelly's little situation itself, let me tell y'all, give y'all some other information, some personal knowledge experiences of knowledge that I have with young girls dating older men. When I was 14 years old, we had a friend of the family. She was like an extended family member, actually, because one of her family members had married into my family. And when I was 14, she was 11. This was like back in 1991, 92. And when she was 11 years old, she lived in the country. She lived in a real rural county in our state. And her mother would let her date grown men at 11 years old. I had found out that she was on birth control pills at 11, which would explain why she was so curvaceous at 11. And I know on one occasion we went to visit her, and there was a 24-year-old Latino guy there that was actually living in their house that I came to find out that day was actually her boyfriend. She was sitting on his lap, hugged up on him, and she was doing all this in front of her mom and her dad, okay? And like I said, that was her boyfriend, and her mother was allowing her to not only date him, but he was living in their house, okay? So it stands to reason he was sleeping in the bed with her too. Well, you know, for me being 14 years old, that was a culture shock to me, because my mom was, I wouldn't say she was strict, but my mom was very protective of her children. I was her only girl, or am her only daughter, and so my mom always made it her business to be a mother to me. She didn't allow me to do what I wanted to do. She just didn't let me run free range as a 14-year-old mom. I had rules and regulations placed upon me, which I thank God for those rules. I thank my mama for loving me enough to put boundaries around me, unlike this family friend parents did. Well, and my mom, when we were leaving the house that day, I had to ask my mom, what was going on? Who was that dude? Why was this 24-year-old man at her house and she's sitting in his lap? I mean, it was the strangest thing to me at 14. And my mom said, you know, it just looked like to me that something's going on that shouldn't be going on, and her mother is allowing this. And my mom, all she could do was shake her head, because my mom even spoke to this girl's mother about this situation. And eventually it dawned on me that they were taking money for him being there and being with their daughter. He was giving them money, which equated to the parents pimping my cousin or my family friend out. They were literally pimping her out for about $500 or $600 a month is what they were doing. That's one example of young girls being allowed to date older men. When I was in the eighth grade, I was 13 years old, there was a girl in my class. She was 14. She was about 6 months pregnant when we started school, and she was pregnant by a 24-year-old man herself. He was a drug dealer, and I came to find out not only was she pregnant by a guy, but there were several other girls. This was a trend in the junior high school that I went to. There were young girls that dated older men all the time, and their parents knew about it because these older men gave them money. So it became a normal thing. It wasn't normal for me. In my world, it wasn't normal. But when I heard about other girls doing it or other girls' parents allowing them to do it, it wasn't a surprise to me at all. Because obviously this was something that some people did in their circle. Some girls dated older guys. They always seemed to be a little bit more mature than the rest of us. And like I said, they were having babies and everything. Okay, talk about myself. When I was 11, between the ages of about 11 and 14, I myself had crushes on multiple grown men. I said crushes. I had infatuations for grown men, older men in their 20s and in their 30s, even when I was young. And most of them went to the same church as me with the exception of one or two. I said I had crushes, infatuations. They didn't know it, but I was attracted to them. These were men that I found extremely attractive between the ages of 11 and 14. Okay? So it was not uncommon for young girls, or it is not uncommon for young girls to be deeply and heavily attracted to older men. That goes back to even way before Jesus was born. Way back in the Bible days, Mary herself was only 15 years old when the Holy Ghost came upon her and she conceived Jesus. But of course, she was getting ready to marry Joseph, who was way older than her. He was full grown. She was only 15. So it's not uncommon, all right, for young girls to like older men, okay? What makes the difference is whether, depending on where you are, what your culture is, what the law says, and so forth and so on. Okay, also in addition to that, like I said, in my high school, there were girls 14 and 15 years old. Their grown boyfriends used to come to the school and pick them up all the time. And their parents knew that this was going on. So again, this is not uncommon. I asked the question to you. Should all of those young men that dated those young girls whose parents allowed them to date the young girls, even including my family friend / cousin, should those men be arrested or prosecuted now for what they did back then, even though their parents, 20 years ago that their parents allowed them to do it? Should they be prosecuted for it? Answer that question. Before we talk about R. Kelly, answer the question, should these men that you know that dated these young girls who were allowed to do it, should they be arrested for it? Then that brings me to R. Kelly's situation. We know that in the United States, every state has a statute of, has a legal age of consent. It varies from state to state. In the state of Florida, it's 18. In the state of Illinois, it's 17 now. In the state of Georgia, it's 16. State of Alabama is 16. And in some states, it's even 15 years old, okay? So, of course, we have to technically abide by the law of the land. But what do you do when you have a culture, a system, a circle of people around you that allow this to go on, such as with R. Kelly, 10, 15, 20 years ago? The girls he was dating were my age, were the same age as me back then in the early 90s. Their parents knew about it in most cases. They allowed it. These girls wanted record deals. They wanted to sing. They were smitten with R. Kelly, just like I was smitten with a lot of grown men. And yet their parents gave them the leeway. They had more leeway than I did, you know? So in their world, in their circle, with all the people around them, all the adults that were around them, they allowed this to go on. They saw it. A lot of them received benefits from it. A lot of them received money for this situation. A lot of the parents were just as excited about the prospect of their daughters getting record deals as the daughters were. So this kind of thing went on in their lifestyle. Nobody called the police. Nobody bothered to call the police on R. Kelly back then. Nobody. It's just that he was doing it to multiple girls. But all of these girls wanted to be with him. He did not kidnap any of these girls. He did not rape them in the true sense of the word rape. Yes, we got statutory rape, which pertains to law. But again, the parents were unwittingly, or the parents were, let's say, without saying, they were giving these girls the permission to date R. Kelly. Okay? They allowed it to happen. We know they did. And any one of them that lived in his house later on, if the parents didn't call the police on him or report him missing for anything, then he still was doing what they allowed him to do. Yes, R. Kelly is a pervert. He is nasty. He is foul. And I think that's what makes the situation worse, is because of the things that we have found out that he has done to these girls behind closed doors. The things that he's done. And we've even found out since then that his fetishes are not limited to just women. It crosses over into men as well. So he just seems like the type of person that sexually he will do anything. Even when I was 14, 15 years old, back in the day when I was listening to R. Kelly when he was with Public Announcement, then when he went solo, I knew then that it was something about him that gave me old, dirty old man tease. I was raised around old men. I was very privy to old men trying to talk to young girls. So I knew his type. He always seemed like that to me. And I was never attracted to R. Kelly. So again, the difference in females, people like what they like. R. Kelly's obviously very immature. I can tell that from watching part 1 of this R. Kelly special that's been coming on Lifetime. I hadn't seen the other parts yet, but I'm sure I'll get around to it. But I really don't need to watch it because I had already heard these things. We already knew a lot of things that were going on with R. Kelly. He was telling y'all a long time ago how nasty he was. But you know, that again, that it was the culture, that was the circle that R. Kelly was operating in. He was operating in a circle that fostered that lifestyle, that allowed him to do what he did to these girls. These girls allowed him to do what he did to them. The only reason why now I believe personally that they're saying that they've been victimized is because they're upset at the fact that things didn't turn out the way that they wanted them to turn out. None of them have any big record contract or big music career today. None of them have that he promised them. So they're angry about that. They're hurt about the fact that they were so foolish and so naive that they wanted this man and that things turned out the way that they turned out. Their own guilty consciousness is what's eating them up. And instead of them saying, you know what, I was wrong for even wanting to be with this old man. Instead of their parents say, we were saying that they were wrong for allowing their children to be involved with this man. Instead, they're going to put all the responsibility on R. Kelly. Yes, R. Kelly was wrong. R. Kelly has to bear his own responsibility in what he did. Okay? And he's going to have to stand before God for every nasty, foul thing that he's ever done and the way he treated people as well. But my question is, if the people that were close to him, the people that were affected by what he was doing, the people that were involved in it, if they did not see anything illegal about what he was doing, if they didn't take the time to call the police and report him as a pedophile or a child molester or rapist or whatever, should we here 10, 15, 20 years later, do we have the right to persecute him in the court of public opinion about what he did 20 years ago? We were not there. We didn't see everything that was going on. Only thing we know is what we've been told and what we have read. We do not have firsthand knowledge of what R. Kelly had been doing, okay? And there's 3 sides to every story. His side, their side, and the truth. Y'all, we can say that those girls were children all day long, but I promise you when I was 14, I had plenty of sense. I knew what I was doing, and I knew what I had better not become a part of. Because for one thing, my mother wasn't going to allow me to go off with no grown man. It just wasn't going to happen. Okay, even now that I'm full grown, I'm 40 years old, and my mother is like, I know you're not going to date that 55-year-old man. My mom don't even want me dating a man 45 because she think that's too old for me. So it's just the difference in environment, in culture, the way people were raised, what you were allowed to do, is boundaries. It was just different. And it was nothing wrong with it 20 years ago. So why today are we so angry as a society? And why are we trying to prosecute R. Kelly for something that has been done over and over and over and time again? Why are we mad with him? Why do people want to persecute R. Kelly for what he did? Yes, he was wrong again because he was nasty. He's a grown man. He should have known better. But again, it was allowed. This was normal in their circle. You know, and let's not talk about, and I don't want to compare him to other people, but we see what they've done to Bill Cosby. I feel the same way about Bill Cosby. If Bill Cosby gave those women anything that he should not have given them, that they didn't ask for, he was wrong for it. But again, 30, 40 years ago, when they realized that he had done something to them, that was the time, in my opinion, to tell on them. They were not babies. They were not children. They were grown, and they should have told it. But you got the Hugh Hefners of the world, the Harvey Weinsteins, the Matt Lauers. You got the Roman Polanski. This man left and went to another country to evade the law law for messing with a young child. You got, who else? Did I say Woody Allen? You got the Stephen, whatever his name is, that played the father on Seventh Heaven. I mean, you've got all of these pedophiles and perverts, but nobody's attacking them for what they did. But now we want to be angry with R. Kelly for getting involved with girls that wanted to be with him and their parents, whose parents allowed them to be with him. Like, again, I'm not saying that R. Kelly was right for what he did, but do we have the right to try to persecute him for what he did? Do those young ladies, the ones who wanted to be with him, who would probably still be with them if things had not gone sour with them, do we have the right to jump in there and to try to judge the situation? I don't think we do. I don't think we do. I think we need to stop exhausting and expending our energy being angry with a man who knows what he did. The people around him know what he did. And if they feel in any way that they have any legal recourse, those people should be the ones that should seek legal, some type of legal, reprimations or whatever. They need to seek some type of legal recourse with R. Kelly, because they're the ones that were affected. If they feel like what he did to him was victimization, if he forced them to do anything, if he held them hostage, held them against their will, if there's any legal recourse, then they need to seek that. Okay? I don't think we should look at R. Kelly any different career-wise. I mean, he's a great musician. He's put out some great music. I mean, if you want to stop listening to his music, that's your business. But don't try to tell everybody else that they wrong for listening to R. Kelly's music. If we're going to stop listening to R. Kelly, we might as well stop listening to a plethora of other entertainers, because we done heard stuff about Puff Daddy. We've heard things about, oh, you name it, Usher. The list is too long to even name right now. And let's not even talk about the people in the music industry. Like I say, the Harvey Weinsteins, the Woody Allens of the world. All of these people that have done wrong. Are we going to stop watching television altogether? Are we going to stop listening to music altogether? Of course not. This is a product. They put out a product that we enjoy. And I mean, if people want to enjoy their music or in their movies, let them. Don't attack other people because other people don't feel angry and not trying to lash out at R. Kelly the same way that you're lashing out at them. Let people do what they're going to do when it comes down to that. We all have a personal, we all have our own personal boundaries and level of shenanigans and foolishness that we can tolerate in our life, okay? But y'all, I'm telling y'all, I just feel like we putting too much energy into being angry with R. Kelly for doing what so many thousands of other people have always done. I think the thing that makes it look worse with him is the fact that he had so many women, and that it appears that he manipulated several women. But manipulation is not illegal. It's immoral, but it ain't illegal. Y'all talking about a cult. He had this sex cult. Even if he did brainwash them, brainwashing is not illegal. It's immoral, and he'll have to pay for that. He'll give an account of that, but it's not illegal. And again, the people in his circle, all the people that were around him, had no problem with him doing what he did. Now, all of a sudden, 20 years later, it's a problem. We know over a year ago, the young lady whose parents were trying to get the police to arrest R. Kelly, saying that he was holding her hostage and and all of that crap. Remember, over a year ago, I cannot remember that young lady's name, but come to find out, the police raided his Chicago home and they raided his Atlanta home, and they couldn't find anything with which to hold him legally accountable for. Not only that, but the young lady in question clearly told her parents, and she was on camera being interviewed, she was exactly where she wanted to be. She is not being mistreated. She loved R. Kelly, and she had no intention of leaving anytime soon. So I'm pretty sure that was the attitude of a lot of those girls until R. Kelly used them up and he got done with them himself. Now all of a sudden they feel bad and they're regretting what happened. Okay, things just didn't turn out the way that they wanted them to turn out. So are we going to be angry for them when even their own motive for being mad with R. Kelly is not right? Y'all, I mean, we just really need to think about that. You seriously need to think about where we're going to put our energy and where we're going to exhaust our energy being proactive or being a vigilante for something that, when you in the grand scheme of things, is only going to backfire on you for fighting it in the first place, because it's going to continue to happen R. Kelly will not go to jail. But like I was joking with somebody the other day on Facebook, I told him, look, if y'all want R. Kelly to go to prison, go and convince him to try to buy NBC like Bill Cosby did, and just maybe he'll go to prison, because then it's going to be a problem. Okay? Well, anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I've already been on here longer than I wanted to talk about this particular thing, and I know it sounds like I was rambling, because I am. I didn't write down any notes. I was just talking from memory. So until next time, y'all take care. Bye-bye.